Welcome back to the Bond Briefing. I'm Monty, your guide to all things James Bond, where we dive deep into the world of 007, from books to movies and everything in between. Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating contrasts in the Bond franchise. Ian Fleming's novel You Only Live Twice and its big-screen adaptation starring Sean Connery. Stay tuned to discover why the book is considered a literary masterpiece and how the film takes a completely different turn. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update from the Bond Briefing. Here's a quick question for you. Did you know that the You Only Live Twice movie has almost nothing to do with the book? The two couldn't be more different, and that's exactly what we're breaking down today. So, grab your martinis, shaken, not stirred, and let's dive into it. Setting the stage. To understand the differences, let's first set the stage. Ian Fleming's You Only Live Twice was published in 1964, the year Fleming passed away. It's the 12th book in the series and the final act of what fans call the Blofeld Trilogy, following Thunderball and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. The novel explores Bond at his lowest point. After the tragic death of his wife Tracy at the hands of Ernst Stavro Blofeld, Bond is a broken man. He's drinking too much, losing focus, and even faces the threat of being removed from MI6. This is where the book begins, a raw and vulnerable version of Bond that's rarely seen. Compare this to the 1967 film. It's the fifth Bond movie and sees Sean Connery reprising his iconic role. However, the film completely discards Bond's personal struggles and instead opts for a high-tech, action-packed adventure that aligns with the spectacle-heavy Bond formula of the 1960s. Plot comparison. Now, let's talk plot. In the novel, Bond is sent to Japan on what seems like a simple diplomatic mission to secure an intelligence-sharing agreement with the Japanese Secret Service. There, he meets Taiga Tanaka, the charismatic head of Japanese intelligence, who becomes one of the series' most memorable allies. Bond's mission quickly escalates when he learns about Dr. Guntram Shatterhand, a mysterious villain who resides in a castle surrounded by a deadly garden of poisonous plants. Shatterhand is none other than Blofeld, now in disguise. Bond's quest becomes deeply personal, culminating in a brutal showdown that ends with Bond killing Blofeld and avenging Tracy's death. Contrast this with the movie. Here, the plot revolves around Spectre capturing American and Soviet spacecraft to incite World War III. Bond fakes his death at the beginning, goes undercover in Japan, and teams up with Tanaka and Aki, a female agent. The villain. Blofeld, of course, played by Donald Pleasance with his iconic scar and sinister demeanor. Instead of a castle and a garden of death, we get a secret volcano lair complete with a monorail and a piranha pool. The film's focus is entirely on spectacle, spacecraft hijackings, ninjas storming the lair, and Bond piloting Little Nelly, his gyrocopter. It's Bond at his most outlandish. Themes and tone. One of the most striking differences is the tone. The novel is introspective, melancholic, and almost meditative. Fleming delves deep into Bond's psyche, showing a man grappling with grief, identity, and mortality. The film, on the other hand, is pure escapism. It trades emotional depth for larger-than-life action and gadgets. While the book is a study of Bond the man, the movie is all about Bond the icon. For example, the novel ends on a somber note, with Bond suffering from amnesia after the final battle. He's left wandering in Japan, uncertain of who he is. The movie? It wraps up with Bond saving the world and escaping with a beautiful woman. Classic Hollywood. Characters and relationships. Let's talk characters. In the novel, Taiga Tanaka is a complex and fascinating ally. He introduces Bond to Japanese culture, including the traditional practice of haiku, which plays a symbolic role in the story. Kissy Suzuki, Bond's love interest in the book, is portrayed as a strong, independent woman who helps Bond in his mission. In the movie, Tanaka is still a standout character, but Kissy Suzuki's role is greatly reduced. She's more of a traditional Bond girl, beautiful but underdeveloped. And then there's Blofeld. In the novel, Blofeld is unrecognizable, hiding behind his Shatterhand persona. In the movie, Donald Pleasence's portrayal of Blofeld has become iconic, with his bald head, scar, and menacing presence. But he's more of a caricature, lacking the depth of his literary counterpart. Impact and legacy. Interestingly, You Only Live Twice isn't just a piece of Bond history. It's a story that resonates in later films, particularly Daniel Craig's No Time to Die. Several elements from the novel were subtly revisited, tying Fleming's literary legacy to the modern era. For example, the poisoned garden from the book reappears in Sarfin's lair in No Time to Die, used to cultivate deadly nanobot-targeted bioweapons. The theme of sacrifice also looms large, with Bond ultimately giving his life to save Madeleine and Matilda. Both stories explore Bond's vulnerabilities and his willingness to sacrifice everything for those he loves. So, what do you think? Which version of You Only Live Twice do you prefer? The deeply personal novel or the action-packed movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the Bond Briefing for more insights into the world of 007. Thank you for watching, and remember, Bond may only live twice, but his legacy lives on forever. See you next time.